Hello, guys, and welcome to the first ever full episode of Far North Podcast. On this episode today, we will take a season reflection of the Faroese League, and I will be commenting on a little bit about the Faroese competition in general, but also into detail with KI Klaksvik or KI Klaksvik. And I haven't set any specific time for each episode to be yet, so it will maybe vary from part to part. It's just going to be depending on what subject we are talking about and however long it takes. But in the beginning, you could expect it not being way too long. So let's just jump into the season. This season, 2025, has been a fantastic year for KI, and if we take the competition in general, it's been an okay, and some people may even say boring competition in general. The first reason why it would be exciting for a KI fan and why it might have been boring for a just Faroese fan in general is because of KI won the league pretty clearly. They won the league by 9 points, but it was never in doubt. Even like when there was just a few games left, you weren't even doubting that they were going to become champions. So the competition on the first place was a little bit boring, but for KI fans, it would be fine, I think. And for me, at least, it was good, and I enjoyed the year really much because maybe we didn't fight so hard for the first team place because we were so far in front, but we had records to chase, and this is the second time that KI have won the league unbeaten. The first time was in 2021, I think, if I'm not mistaken, and now the second time. And it has been done once before, but that was when the competition only had 18 games. Now we play 27, played 3 times against each other. So yeah, for a KI standpoint, this has been a fantastic year, as I said. We won the double for the first time since 1999, which is an amazing achievement, and it's the first time we win the cup since 2016. Which is incredible. Should probably have won it more often between there, but as you know, in a cup, it's not easy. If you lose, you're out. If you win, you're through, right? The biggest competition this season in the league has probably been for the second place, which has been NSUI and HB. It's kind of funny because this season has been kind of a 2-horse race between KI and NSUI from Runavík. But even though it has been a 2-horse race, NSUI finished third behind HB, who passed them in the last games. One against NSUI, which they won, and then NSUI couldn't catch up, and they lost against KI on the final game week as well, making it 4 points from the second spot, and 13 points from the first spot, which is a big gap. And also there's been a big competition about the fourth place, because the fourth place gives European competitions if the cup winner isn't between fifth and 10th position. If the cup winner is first to third position in the league, the cup place goes to the fourth place. And this season it went to Víkingur from Gøta, the champions from last season. They had a big competition about fourth place this season against B36. 2 very different seasons, but similar in a way as well, because Víkingur and B36 are in a build-up phase. They're starting to build up a new team because both of them have lost a few players and have to start like from scratch, kind of, because Víkingur lost a lot of players because of transfers. They went abroad, and some players have stopped, and it's the same again this year. They're losing a few players, and B36 they kind of had to not sign as many players because they missed out on the European competition last season, which means they also lost out on a big sum of money. So they had to try to start using a little bit more local players, and Vålerenga have always used local players. The only problem is when they sell the local players, it's hard to replace them with only local players that maybe aren't really ready for it yet. So yeah, Vålerenga last season finished the season on 73 points as champions, the same as KOI did this year, but they only managed to get 44 points this season, which is a massive drop. And I'm not sure if there's ever been such a big drop from the prior champions to the next season. It's really bad actually, but luckily for them, they managed to get European places. If they lost out on that as well, I think that would be a scandalous campaign. Compared to last season, the two teams that got promoted, FC Suðuroy and TP, both from the island, the most southern island of the Faroe Islands, Suðuroy, got relegated, which says a little bit about the promoting teams, that it's really hard to establish themselves and try to hold on and not get relegated again. So I'm kind of sad that both teams from Suðuroy went down. It's a far trip to go all the way to Suðuroy for an away game, but it's always interesting. So I really enjoy at least one of them. But FC Suðuroy, they lost it on the last game week, and I would say most of the people were expecting both of them going down, but I predicted that FC Suðuroy would finish 9th and TP 10th, as they did. But they had actually a big fight against Norske Vester, which had a really bad season this year that no one really was expecting. They've never been a good top team, but they've always been like an established mid-tier team, like in the mid-table, between the 6th, 5th, maybe 7th place. But they're rarely all the way down in 8th and under the relegation zone. But they have been in the relegation zone almost all games this season, until the last game actually. If we compared this season to the last season where we lost out, when I say we, I mean KOI, lost out on the league title, it has been a fantastic year. There's no question about that. But last season we finished on 76 points. This year, 67 points, I mean. And this year, 73 points. And 67 points, I mean, is enough to become champions almost every season. But last season, Vålerenga was really, really strong, and they were going on momentum from the year prior, and it just carried on all the way to the end of the season. Because even though KOI had a really rocky start, they managed to win 22 games and only losing points in 5 of them, 1 being a draw and 4 being losses. And we were hit with a lot of injuries, which I would say cost the season last season. This year, injuries have been way more manageable, even though there's still been a few. The promoted teams back this season is going to be Skala, that got relegated last season. And UIF got relegated as well, but they are not going to get back up. This time it's going to be AB from Archer, which is basically in Tórshavn, is next to Tórshavn. So it's going to be hard for them. I expect both of those teams being in a relegation fight, but I think maybe Skala have a stronger chance to stay up next season compared to AB. But we'll see. There's going to be a lot of transfers and player changes before then. If we look at the top goal scorers this season, the player with most goals is Clement Andersson Olsen, who plays for NSOE. He is a legend of the Faroese division. He is the top goal scorer ever, and he scored 26 goals this season. And competing for that place in second place is Páll Andrásson Kleckskær, who plays for KOI, who is also a legend of the game for KOI, top goal scorer for KOI, and I think the second for the league in general. So it's usually them two fighting for the golden shoe. And NSOE have scored a lot of goals this season, the same amount as KOI. They scored 92 goals, and KOI scored 92 as well. But KOI only conceded 18, and that was the main problem for NSOE. If they had a better defense and maybe a better goalkeeper, they would 100% been in the title fight until the last few games. That is what they are at least going to try to have to improve for next season. And as well, Otne has been on fire. Otne has scored 18 games as a right midfielder, right winger, and also made 16 assists. That is crazy amounts. He has been a lot of goals and assists in one season. It's a record ever, and for him as well, obviously. But both Páll Kleckskær and Otne are getting towards the end of their career. Hopefully, they'll hold on a little longer, but they're not getting any younger. So KOI have to start thinking about some replacements in the future. But as we see, they keep on going. They're producing goals. Them two together is a really good duo, Páll and Otne, and hopefully they'll be smacking in the goals next season as well. And also Peter Knudsen from NSOE has been doing really well as Brandur, which are two star players in the division. But Peter got injured, which cost, I think, NSOE a few points because he is one of their star players. So for them to be 100% competitive, both Brandur and Peter have to be sharp. I want to talk a little bit about the European adventure this season as well. I will probably go into more details about this in future episodes. But I also want to make an episode about our European adventure in 2023, where we actually managed to qualify. But this season, you could see it as a small failure. I wouldn't say a big failure, a small failure, because we still have to remember where we're coming from and what we did to come to where we are now. This season, we managed to beat a team from Finland over 2 legs. We won the away game 2-1. It's an incredible good result because I think they play on grass and we play on artificial grass. But not only that, a team from Finland with the population of about, 3-4 million. And for us, it's 55,000 in the Faroe Islands in general, and only 5,000 in Klaksvík. So KOI have been really competitive, or trying to be competitive in Europe in the last few seasons, and obviously that also means that you have to spend more money on players and foreign players as well. But if you want to be competitive in Europe, that's what you have to do. And after that, we played against Radniki from Serbia. The first game was the away game, was 0-0 in 35 degrees Celsius warmth. And that is really, really hard for players from the Faroe Islands, because we're used to play in the summer, maybe 12, 13, 14 degrees. So it's hard for them. And you could also see that on the game that we didn't have the ball a lot, but we managed to pull through and got a really good result back home with a 0-0 draw, which we could build on. When we came to Klaksvík again to play against them, we managed to win 1-0. again, which is an incredible result with a small nation, a team from a small town, small nation with the second largest city in the Faroe Islands managed to beat a team from Serbia with way higher population. But population isn't always the factor, obviously, but they have a bigger pool of players to choose from. We have whatever we have, and we sign players from Norway, Denmark, and Sweden, but it's expensive also to get players to here, so we have to work with whatever we have. After that, we played in Tórsvöllur, which is the national team stadium, because the stadium in Klaksvík isn't big enough. We played against Neman from Belarus, and in the home leg, we won deservedly 2-0. Should probably have been more. Yeah, it looked comfortable. It looked like we had this in the bag, but obviously we didn't, because in the second leg we lost 2-0 after full time, which sent the game into extra time. It was a silly mistake by one of our defenders. Everyone makes mistakes, but it cost a lot. But it is what it is. Really, really sad mistake, which put them up 1-0 in the 80th minute. It was 0-0 or 2-0 to us on aggregate before 80th minute, and they scored at the 80th minute, and then they scored one more in the 84th minute. And that sent us into extra time, where we also received a red card in extra time. And that didn't change much, because the game went into penalties, where we lost, sadly, 5-4. It was an unlucky game, unlucky mistakes. Should probably have won, but that is football, you know. The ball is round and everything can happen, even if you think you have it in the bag with only 10 minutes left. So for the upcoming season, we will start somewhere in March, I think, with the newly promoted teams, and hopefully a lot of exciting transfers going to happen in the next few days and months. There's a lot of time to prepare, because the season starts in March, and preseason starts in February, late January, and we're not even in December yet. So there's going to be something to follow up on there. So that will probably be one of the things we're going to talk about when we approach next season, about transfers that the teams made, predictions and everything. Also in Europe next season, it will definitely be more interesting, because Kowi will start in Champions League, and they probably will be seeded, but it's not 100% yet, meaning that the team they will be drawn against is not seeded, and should mean that they should be worse on paper, but then that is not always the case. But it gives us a bigger chance of a good draw. So that is going to be exciting, but also I think it's going to be really exciting to follow NSUI next season in Europe. They won an incredible game in the Faroe Islands against HJK from Finland, 4-0, but somehow, don't ask me why, but somehow they managed to throw that away in Finland, where they lost 5-0. And also HB this season have been impressing me, which I don't really like to say because they're the rivals, but it's true. They impressed me with the results against Brøndby from Denmark. They won. No, they didn't win. They drew the game in the Faroe Islands, which is just incredible, because Brøndby is one of the bigger teams in Denmark, also historically one of the biggest in Denmark, and they narrowly lost in Denmark as well. So I'm excited to next season see NSUI and HB. Witchinger is going to play in Europe next season. I'm not that optimistic about it, because we'll see them struggle, obviously because they're not seeded, but also because the policy of Witchinger is kind of holding them back when it comes to European games, because obviously it's a good thing to bring up your own players and play with local players, but I think it's hindering them in first, like, to get to be champions again, to hold on to the championship, but also to play in Europe against teams that obviously spend money, buy players, and want to go further. but I hope they will be doing well, because in Europe, obviously, I support all the Faroese teams. But I think they're going to struggle. So, yeah, that is this for this episode. I don't know when I will be back, because it's off season. So I'll start putting out podcasts every now and then when something interesting happens. Obviously, as I said, I also want to talk about the 23 campaign from Europe when KOI managed to get into a group stage back in 2023. That is going to be an episode also, but I want to get guests in as well to talk about football in the league, and about KOI and just the league in general. And also when the season approaches, we will be doing our predictions and talking about what we maybe rank the team's transfer windows, the players that they brought in. It's kind of hard to give them a grade on transfers when they buy players from Sweden, Denmark, and Norway, because it's hard to know the players before that. But also just taking into account what positions they sign, what do they need, what do they buy, and if it's going to strengthen them in the future. So I'll just say thank you really much for watching this first full episode of the Far North Football Podcast, and we see each other soon. Thank you.
Först spark, först halt, skåra KOI.